All right, Fusion ERP has been available in the cloud for some time now. And we have between 5 and 6, I can do that, okay. Both hands, it's gonna be tricky. Two things at one time. We have between 5 and 6,000 customers that we've sold Fusion ERP to, and about 4,000 of them are actually live doing their financials, their procurement, their processing in the Oracle Cloud. We're very excited about that. But the announcement today specifically is we've made it much easier for you to move from an on-premise ERP system into the cloud. It's now actually easier to upgrade from e-business suite on-premise, Oracle e-business suite on-premise, to Fusion ERP in the cloud. It's easier to do that than it was to migrate from e-business suite version 7 to e-business suite version 8. It's actually an easier upgrade to go from e-business suite to Fusion in the cloud than it was to go from one version of e-business suite to another. And once you're in the cloud, as Beth said, that's the last upgrade you'll ever do, because all of the cloud upgrades are on us, and they're all done 100% automatically. So let's look at the next slide. I can put this down then if I'm going to do that. Okay, all right, I'm going to try both. Do both. It's tricky for me. All right, so again, we have developed an automated upgrade to move you from e-business suite to Fusion in the cloud. It's now automated. We can do it for PeopleSoft. We can do it for between Hyperion and Enterprise Performance Manager in the cloud, and more to come. So we'll be doing these automated upgrades for our full suite of products. It will take time. We're leading off today with Fusion, moving to Fusion ERP from e-business suite. All right, there are several components to this upgrade process. Everything on this slide is 100% automated. The first thing we do is we have an evaluator process that scans your e-business suite, PeopleSoft, whatever you're running on-prem. It scans it for customizations and integrations. It sees what you've added to the standard e-business suite product and makes note of that. The next thing that happens is the configuration analyzer scans your e-business suite implementation for configuration parameters and metadata, getting your chart of accounts, your cost centers, the number of users, how much memory you're using, how much disk space you need. All of that information is then collected by configuration analyzer, and that data is used in turn to automatically configure your Fusion instance in the cloud. Again, each one of these steps is fully automatic. And then your data is automatically loaded, transformed, extracted from e-business suite, transformed, and loaded into Fusion ERP. Now completely automated. Unlike my slides. Okay, well, next question is, well, wait a second. What about you found these customizations and you found these integrations, but what do you do about them? Well, the next thing is a process called Integration Accelerator. An Integration Accelerator takes advantage of this huge library of integrations we've pre-built and put into a box that you can just pull out an integration between Fusion ERP and Salesforce.com's sales or service application, between Fusion ERP and SAP's ERP application, between Fusion ERP and J.D. Edwards manufacturing application. We have dozens of these, more than 100 actually, more than 100 of these pre-built integrations in a library where we can then pull out. So rather than custom building your integrations, a lot of these, if you're going from one standard software product to another standard software product, a lot of those integrations are pre-built. Now, if you have an integration with an internal custom system that you've built yourself, we're going to have to rebuild that integration. But I'll talk more about that later, because in the Oracle Consulting package that does the upgrade from eBusiness Suite to Fusion ERP in the cloud, if you take advantage of that package, it includes 30 integrations. It includes a bunch of integrations. Okay, next, what about customization? I got these I built custom reports. I've added special transactions. I've done all of this stuff. What do I do about all those customizations? Well, eBusiness Suite, which has been around for a very, very long time, does not have nearly as many features and functions as Fusion in the cloud. So when you make the migration from eBusiness Suite to Fusion in the cloud, you can drop a lot of those customizations, because a lot of those customizations are now standard features in Fusion ERP. A lot of those things you had to build yourself when you're implementing eBusiness Suite now come part of the standard Fusion ERP cloud product. So there should be a huge reduction in number of customizations. So an awful lot of these customizations that you had to do for eBusiness Suite, you don't have to do for Fusion, because they're a standard part of the product. And finally, again, as I mentioned, there's a customization allowance. You get 30 integrations and 30 custom reports built in to the Oracle Consulting upgrade service, if you choose to use that to move from eBusiness Suite to Fusion in the cloud. Next slide. Okay. One of the cool things about Fusion Cloud applications, all of Fusion Cloud applications, Fusion HCM, Fusion Sales, et cetera, and certainly Fusion ERP, is it's built on a modern cloud platform with integrated machine learning. The Fusion applications all run on an Oracle database that keeps your data safe and secure. What do I mean by that? If there is a security threat, if there's a security alert, if we know there's a security assault on your system or on any place in the Oracle cloud, we automatically detect, or once that's detected, we automatically detect that. We can actually patch the database and remediate that security threat without ever taking your application down. The Oracle database, you can patch the Oracle database, patch the Oracle database while the database is running. That means you can security patch Fusion ERP in the cloud while your application is running. There's no delay for human intervention. There's no delay for a downtime window where we can turn your application off and then fix things and then bring it back up. It's all done automatically without delay while your system keeps running. There's no other system in the world that can do that. Another thing that's rather cool about this platform is there's no limits as to what you can do. If we left out a feature or a function, and you have a good idea, and our customers have lots and lots of good ideas, and they want to implement those good ideas and build them right in, extend the Fusion applications with those ideas, it's very easy to do that. The customers use the same tool set that we use to build Fusion ERP. The customer uses that same exact tool set to extend Fusion ERP. And because that tool set has integrated machine learning, that means you can build these extensions with all the cool technology we have built into the applications. For example, you get a very easy to learn, very easy to use voice interface. We use it to build voice interface on top of Fusion applications. You can use it to add cool new features with a voice interface. We'll give you an example of that. And then Fusion applications have lots more automation than eBusiness Suite before it. Because of machine learning, we can automate lots and lots of things. In fact, the automated upgrade is enabled largely by this machine learning technology itself. Next slide. Okay, so when you move from ERP on-premise, e-business suite, to Fusion in the cloud, you get an all-new user interface. You still have, obviously web user interfaces, but you also get chatbot user interfaces. You even get voice user interfaces. So this system is much more familiar, much easier to use than the systems that came before it. You just ask Siri, hey Siri, what were yesterday's sales at Nobu? This is very important to me personally, just in case they decide to enforce the mandatory retirement age in my job. You've got to have a plan B. Okay, another, Alexa, how many vacation days do I have? This is a lot different than the way we're used to interacting with ERP systems. Doesn't mean you're going to do all your journal entries or generate invoices using voice, but an awful lot of the people inside of the company that don't use the system every day can now get easy access to this system at home, in the car, through their cell phone, with a very easy to learn and use voice interface. A lot of functions that we used to do manually to close the books, hundreds of functions we used to do manually to close the books, are now completely automated. They're completely automated. So we can consolidate across different subsidiaries, Oracle France, Oracle Germany, Oracle Federal, Oracle Commercial in North America. We can convert currencies, euros to dollars because we report in dollars, lira to dollars. All of that stuff is done automatically. And we can close the books every day because it's automated. It's not a human function anymore. It's so complicated. In the old days, when you closed the books, you did it at the end of a month or maybe only at the end of a quarter, because there are so many steps to get the information, to get all of this information about how what were your expenses for the month? What's your revenue for the month? That's not a trivial question to ask. Includes tax estimations. There's a lot of complexity in converting the currencies, what exchange rates you use. All of this stuff is very complicated. That's why you have a lot of accountants closing the books, and we usually do it once very carefully every quarter. It's all automated. All those steps are automated. You now can close your books continuously and get results every day. You get results every day that compares your actual financial performance with your budgeted financial performance, your targets. You get that information every day. You get lots of automation, which makes you much more productive. And you get all of this information on a daily basis rather than a quarterly basis, which gives you much better information to make better decisions. We always talk about information and how it helps you make better decisions. Not easy to get that information. Now, using modern technology, being able to use machine learning and automating a lot of these functions, it's much easier to get accurate data. It's much less expensive to get accurate data about our business every single day. For years, we've been scanning in invoices and expenses and all sorts of documents like that with varying degrees of success. Early days in OCR, we'd translate 80% of the document, 90% of the document. We've been getting better and better and better. With machine learning, we're now scanning these documents, entering the invoice into the system with approaching 100% accuracy. Same thing with expenses. All of this stuff is now automated. All of this stuff is more timely, it's more accurate. You don't have people doing tedious jobs like keying in an invoice or that's been rejected by the OCR system. It's now much more accurate than it's ever been before. And we can again use machine learning to find people who might want to take advantage of this system. That's what machine learning does. It scans data and looks for anomalies. looks for something unusual. In the case of security, it might be surprised that your CFO was logging onto the system from the Ukraine in the middle of the night. That's kind of an unusual thing. You might be a little suspicious of that. You can also find anomalies from a vendor expensing you in a way that you've never seen before. Again, machine learning is very good about finding data anomalies. It's great at fraud detection. It's great at scanning logs to make sure there isn't an unusual person trying to log into the system and steal your data. So, and as I said, even the upgrade utility itself is enabled by machine learning. So this is a very modern, new technology that we've fully exploited in Fusion ERP in the cloud. Next slide, please. Your data is safe. No one wants to be on the front page of the newspaper reading about how data was stolen from their system. We have, again, through machine learning, we have automated threat detection. Someone trying to log on in the Ukraine who's never logged on to Ukraine before. If we find situations like that, we block that person, and we do it automatically while the system is still running. If we find there's a vulnerability in a piece of our software, we can patch that software like the database while the system is still running, without human intervention, without waiting for downtime. We do it immediately. If we're going to be attacked, if our data is going to be attacked by robots, botnets, if people are marshaling lots and lots of computers to attack our applications on the internet, in the cloud, it's got to be our robots versus their robots if we want to have any chance at all. And that's what we're doing, using our own bots to detect these threats and remediate these threats automatically without human intervention. And again, I'll say it one more time and then I'll stop. The Oracle database is the only database, the only data storage system that can actually repair itself while it's still running. It's like changing tires when you're driving 150 miles an hour. You might slow to 140, change the tires, then go back up to 150. Might slow down slightly, but it doesn't stop, and it does it automatically. Our infrastructure, our cloud itself is very different. I'm not going to go into a lot of details about this, but the actual computers we put into our cloud are a little bit different than the computers that Microsoft or Amazon puts into their cloud. And we have separate application processors that run things like Fusion ERP, and we have separate security processors attached to the same computer. Nobody else really does that. And the application processors can't see into the security processor's memory, and vice versa. The security processor cannot see in the application processor memory. Our technical staff cannot look at your Fusion ERP data. You can see your data, we can't. We can see how much memory you're using. We can see how many IOs you're doing. We can see if there's an attack on your system, but we can't look at your account balances. We can't look at who your users are. We can't do any of that. And that's also a unique aspect of the security built into the Oracle Cloud. Next slide, please. Visual Builder. Visual Builder is the tool we used to build Fusion ERP. It's the tool you use to extend Fusion ERP. And it supports any mobile device, iOS, Apple iPhones, Android phones, iPads, the Alexa, the Alexa digital assistant. It supports chatbots, so you can text. You can send and receive texts or create applications that send and receive texts and chat with users. You can interface and build voice extensions and voice-based transactions to Fusion ERP. you can use the same tools we use to build Fusion ERP to extend Fusion ERP. Next slide. Okay, so we're going to do a demo. I'm going to have Steve Miranda come up here and do this demo. This is not a demo. This is a real piece of work that was done for Verizon, that we did with Verizon. Verizon wanted to extend our Fusion human capital management, our Fusion HR system, and automate approvals. But they didn't like, that they thought our interface was too complicated. They wanted to just be able to talk to Alexa and do this. So we use Visual Builder, machine learning, plus mobile, plus chatbots, plus voice to build this specific feature for Verizon into Fusion human resources. Steve?
Okay. So great. Larry set it up really. What I'm going to do, I'm a manager, and I'm just going to, I don't know if you can see it from there, but I've got an Alexa here. And so I could be at my home, or theoretically I could be in a car, whatever you want to put the voice interface to. Again, we extended our base Fusion Cloud applications for approvals. And I'm going to do an approval now just to show you how simple it is. So let me. Okay. Alexa, ask Andy if I have any pending approvals.
You have one new approval awaiting your response. Would you like me to read it to you?
Yes, please.
Vacation request from Guy Matran for this Friday. Would you like to approve?
What is Guy's vacation balance?
Guy has 8 days remaining of his 15 days. Would you like to approve the new request?
Yes, approve the transaction.
Guy's vacation request for this Friday is now approved. You have no more approvals.
Great. Alexa, stop.
That was really complicated.
So that's it. No hands, no keyboard, mobile, all the things you said. Extend the app, do an approval via voice, and I put in the question, because so you get an idea. We did approval, so it's a transaction, but you can easily get simple queries like what's his vacation balance, what's my vacation balance, what's my vacation balance when I'm planning a vacation, what's my last pay slip. Every part of Fusion applications will have voice interfaces for queries as well as transactions.
And once again, we did not do this as a demo for this event. It was actually done. I actually saw it on the internet, where a person at Oracle Center in Austin, Texas, had just finished the work for Verizon with Verizon to do this, and she was demoing it, and I said, "That's perfect." That demos lots of things. It demos our voice interface. It demos our mobile capability, our chatbots, but almost more importantly, it demonstrates the extensibility of the overall platform, that you can add features and functions. And by the way, this feature and function was added in such a way is when we upgrade to the next version, of this case, Fusion HCM, that feature remains. The upgrade is 100% automated, and that feature is preserved and just keeps working as it worked before. Steve, by the way, is in charge of developing all of our Fusion apps. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you.
And I think this is the last slide coming up now. And it's just a summary. The Fusion ERP upgrade. It's now easier to move from eBusiness Suite to Fusion than it was to move from one version of eBusiness Suite to another. And you get lots and lots of benefits. It's so much easier to learn and use with a new voice UI, the chatbots. You take Fusion with you wherever you go with iOS and Android. It's night and day in terms of technology. There's much more automation. So a lot of the tedious transactions that people were manually entering are now automated. Again, you taking advantage of machine learning, from scanning of invoices to automatically matching budget accounts to actual performance. And as we just saw, there are no limits. The only limits are your ideas and our ideas. It's very easy to add to this. So Beth is going to talk about the upgrade, and if you choose to do it, it will be the last upgrade you ever do. Thank you very much.